Is learning how to play the 5-string banjo easy? Can you do it? In my opinion, anyone can do it. See this reservoir behind me? We're going to go for a walk around that, and by the time we get back to this spot, I'm going to have convinced you not only to have bought your first banjo, convinced you that anyone can do it, especially you, taught you how to play your basic rhythm, doggy, and hopefully by the end of it, give you the confidence, bit of knowledge and that motivation to take the leap, to get yourself off the fence and to learn how to play your very first musical instrument. The 5-string banjo. It's a beautiful instrument, it's been around for centuries, and by learning how to play, you're going to make yourself part of this wonderful heritage, and you're going to be part of the banjo story, keeping this style of music alive. So come with me. We're going to have another walk, another banjo adventure. My name is Ben Dorning, banjo teacher from England. Let's crack on. Learning a new skill like playing a musical instrument for the very first time can be quite a daunting thing to do, because you never really hear anybody, you never hear the struggles, do you? You only ever hear accomplished people playing full songs. You don't hear how much work and time and effort went into that performance. It's easy to want to just be the best before you've even started, so you need to let the learning process work, and you need time and consistency, persistence and effort, repetition. You need to accept that you're going to fail the first time, and you need to just keep on going and don't stop, and celebrate the small little wins every single day. Celebrate them, make the most of it, and enjoy the learning process as it works for you. The biggest doubt that probably comes into your mind is the feeling or the anticipation of failure. Now, I always say that the day that you buy your banjo, the first day you pick it up and hold it, is the worst that you will ever be. From that day forward, you can only get better. No matter how bad you think you sound, on those first couple of days, those first couple of weeks, you are making progress every single day. And you'll always feel as though you're getting worse, but it's impossible. How can you possibly get any worse than day one? From the first day where you don't know anything, and from every day there on, you're building your knowledge, your skills, you're applying those skills, you're building up muscle memory, you're learning how to play songs, how music works and all the rest of it. And every single day you are making small incremental gains. So your knowledge, your skills, and by applying them to what you know and to your instrument of choice, banjo ideally, you'll be making progress every day. Now normally this would be the perfect spot for me to just sit down, take a minute and play a few tunes on the banjo, but it's been absolutely raining very heavy over the last couple of days. So if I sit down on there, I'm going to get a wet ass. So what I'm going to do is, on the other side of this water, there's a wall. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. I'm going to head over to that wall, and I think I found the perfect spot to sit down and show you a few things on the banjo. So stick with me and I'll do a bit of a lesson as we go. Set realistic expectations and do not be delusional. Everybody wants to learn to play the banjo because they've heard or seen the movie Deliverance and they want to play dueling banjos on day one. That's not going to happen, and you know that's not going to happen. You know, to get to that kind of level where you're playing really fast and loud and clear and you're up and down the banjo neck and you're playing without even thinking about it, you know that's going to take years. So it's good to have those aspirational goals and those long-term things in mind, but you can't just let that dictate your learning process, because otherwise you end up cutting corners, skipping the core fundamentals that you need to learn, and you're going to burn yourself out, not make progress, and worst of all, you're going to get fed up. So what I would suggest is, most people just start with a simple expectation of wanting to learn to play a couple of songs from memory, maybe one or two tunes, simple songs, which is perfect. Realistic goals, realistic expectations, and just work towards them. Like I said, make those small gains every day and track your progress as well. You know, write down what you've learned and what you've practiced, and just keep a mental note of, you know, what you need to learn coming up, but more importantly, what you've learned looking back, because a lot of people think they're not making progress when they never look back and realise how far they've come from day one. So don't be delusional, set realistic goals, lower your expectations, try your best, and make small gains every day. Once you've set yourself the expectations and you're not delusional, then what I would suggest is you need your banjo, don't you, to get yourself going. So my advice to get your first banjo is don't overthink it, and basically if it looks like a banjo and it's got 5 strings and it isn't broken, it will work. I've played cheap banjos, I've played expensive banjos, and lo and behold, I cannot tell the difference. Especially if you're a beginner and you've never held a banjo before. You'll not be able to tell the difference between an expensive one and a cheap one. They sound the same, they feel the same. So don't waste your money. Especially at this early stage, you know, you can get a fairly decent one used off eBay for 200 quid, 150 quid, 200 quid. Just make sure it's not damaged, and if you need help choosing your first banjo, then drop me an email. My email address is on the website at banjoadventures.com, and I can help you pick your first banjo. Oh look, some hawthorn berries. Might take a few of these home. I know somebody who likes them. Hawthorn berries. They're mushy inside. They're sweet. A bit like pumpkin. Loads of them here. And they are very good for your heart. Cardiovascular circulation. It's good for your blood. And it's just good for you all around. Assuming I'm picking the right berries. I mean, if they're not hawthorn berries, then it could kill me, but all being well, they are what I think they are. Got to live life on the edge a little bit, haven't you? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Now, is it going to be easy to learn how to play? In my unbiased opinion, I would say yes. It is fairly straightforward to learn to play. It is going to take some time and effort though, which you need to invest that time and effort to get past the beginning stages of learning how to play. A lot of it is just repetition and practice of the same things over and over again. Once you know the core fundamentals, for example, with the claw hammer style, the first thing you need to learn is playing a basic rhythm, and that rhythm comes in the form of the basic frailing strum, which I teach on this channel. I've done quite a few videos on it. And then once you've got to grips with that basic frailing strum, now that's something that you can learn after watching a 30-second video. But the mastery comes in taking that technique and working at it for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I'm talking weeks, even months of just drilling it home, that technique, that frailing technique. And it has to become second nature to you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up my videos on the basic frailing strum. I've done quite a few videos on it. And I'll demonstrate what it is again on this video, it's no problem. And once you get to grips with that, you learn a basic rhythm, then you can start incorporating that and making some music with it. If you're finding this little video helpful in any way, shape or form, there's one thing that you can do that would really, really help me and the work that I'm doing at the moment, you know, putting into this channel, trying to grow it, and that would be simply to give it a like and subscribe as well. And you don't have to, but if you do, this helps a lot as well, is just leave a comment just in the comments below, you know, just drop a hello, or if you found the video helpful, just let me know how it helped you. And by me helping you, you can help me, we help each other, and you know, it gives me the motivation to come out and do more of these videos. And hopefully, if I can convince one person to start learning the banjo, and just as I was inspired all them years ago to learn the banjo, if I can inspire one person today to learn the banjo, in 10 years time they can inspire somebody else, and we can keep the whole thing going, keep it alive, you know. So yeah, please help me by liking, subscribe and comment. Appreciate that, thank you. Another reason why the banjo is fairly easy is because even though it is a 5-string instrument, as far as your fretting hand is concerned, it's only actually a 4-string, because we don't really usually use our fretting hand to touch the strings. So you would be right in assuming that, the fewer the number of strings, the more simpler and straightforward the instrument, which is true in my opinion. A guitar's got 6 strings. I find the guitar a lot more challenging than the banjo, which is 5 strings, but as far as our fretting hand is concerned, it's only 4 strings. That does come with its own limitations. Obviously, with fewer strings, there is sort of less colours on the spectrum, if that makes sense. There's a bit of limitations. It's like painting with primary colours. But at the end of the day, you just want to have fun and play a few songs, make some sounds, not take life too seriously. And if that's the kind of thing that you want to do, then I would definitely advise taking up the 5-string banjo. So what I was saying to you before about coming out into the open, into a nice still body of water like this, and just bring your banjo, learn a few tunes, and get that connection with nature. And I think the banjo is the perfect instrument from that. It's got that heritage behind it, the whole history. It's been around for hundreds of years. And back in the day, before TV, internet, radio, when people just had themselves, their communities and music, who's to know? Maybe 100 years ago there could have been some guy sat on the edge of this wall with their banjo playing a few tunes. And I mentioned before the basic frailing strum. I'll just demonstrate what that is, because it's you'll notice I've not got any finger picks on at the moment. I don't use finger picks. With the claw hammer style, or the frailing style, it uses the back of the middle fingernail, and just the nail alone, you can get that nice clean sound. And like I said before, it's only really, if you think about it, it's only a 4-string instrument. Obviously you've got your 5th string that pokes out here, and then as far as your left hand is concerned, you're only ever going to really be fretting 4 strings, and that makes it a little bit easier. Guitar's got 6, banjo's got 4 that you play with your fretting hand. And the basic frailing strum, got to roll my sleeves up for this now. The basic frailing strum, so you use the back of, you create like a claw shape with your hand, and then you strike down on the strings. You bring your hand back up, the strum, and see how my thumb lands on that 5th string. You thumb the 5th string. 1, 2, and if I do that on the lower strings, and the magic happens is when you start to speed that up. That's called the basic frailing strum. And then with that strum, and you take your first chord, which is normally a D7. Our banjo's tuned to open G, so straight away, got a G chord, a D7, do that basic frailing strum. And then just with that alone, we can learn our first tune, which is normally Skip to My Lou. And it all starts with the basic frailing strum. That's simple. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. If you're the kind of person who is stubborn-minded, set in the ways, does not accept failure or defeat, and you think you can do this, I think you can do this, anyone could do this. It's not talent, there's no skill involved. All it needs is persistence, repetition, good direction as well. If you need a half decent banjo teacher, come and check out Banjo Adventures. I can tell you how to do everything from learning the basic 3/8 drum, your first chords, playing your first tunes, and there and beyond, and up to intermediate and advanced. So if you're interested in learning, check out my website, banjoadventures.com. I can teach you, but I'll have to charge. Right, let's keep walking, it's getting cold now. So if you're the kind of person that likes to push themselves out of their comfort zone a little bit and take on challenges and really try to stimulate and push yourself to learn new skills and discover new abilities that you didn't think you could do, then definitely go and grab yourself a 5-string banjo, because every day you're going to be finding yourself up against something new that you find almost impossible, and then after a bit of effort you break through and you're like, whoa, I don't know what I was worried about in the first place, that wasn't that difficult. And you'll have countless moments like that where you struggle, you progress, you break through, and you look back and you think, that wasn't so difficult, and then you come against the next challenge, same thing again. You know, you work through it, you progress, you break through, and you get a sense of pride. You know, with each of these challenges that you accomplish, you get a sense of pride, and it's a fantastic feeling. Another popular banjo tune is the tune Cripple Creek. And Cripple Creek is a song with lyrics all about just having fun in the local river. You know, you can imagine it back in the day, you know, nothing to do but be with friends and family and just have fun and make a fun wherever you can. In this case, Cripple Creek, the local creek, goes like this. Some lyrics to it as well, but I'm not singing today, I'm full of a cold. So you don't want to hear me sing, I'm not singing, not unless you pay me. But yeah, Cripple Creek, lovely tune. I like to play it. It's one of those songs that you just like, you know, once you know how to play it, it becomes, what's the word, contagious. You just want to play it all the time. All the time. What was I saying? Oh yeah, about the banjo. So with the banjo, it's like a, you know, I mean, most instruments are made out of wood and what have you, but for some reason, for me, the banjo it's just got that history to it. You know, it's been around for centuries, and the old time, they call it old time, the clawhammer style that I'd just been playing then. It's also known as old time and old time music. And yeah, it's nice. It's just nice, you know, just to switch off from the world and just play a few songs. And you know, sometimes I like to light a wood fire in my back garden, get a bottle of Johnny Walker Black, bit of soda, and then just chill, play a few songs, set a fire, cook some meat on it as well, bit of ribeye, and play a few tunes. Mint. That is my way to just switch off and reset the old batteries. The thing that I enjoy the most about playing the banjo is just the learning process, taking on those small little challenges, pushing yourself every day just to learn something new. Not only that, but working on the stuff that you already know and perfecting it and driving home those solid core techniques. And I like to take on things that I've never done before, music wise, and push myself to play things. And then once I've learnt that new particular skill, maybe incorporate it in a song I already know, just to really spice up the tunes that I can already play. And the way I look at it is each of those mini challenges, it's essentially like doing a puzzle, whether it's like a crossword or a word search puzzle or even a jigsaw. You know, as we get older, we like to challenge ourselves and do puzzles and things like that. And the banjo is no different, but it's more than just, you know, a mental puzzle. It's physical as well, because you've got to have a little bit of dexterity in your fingers and hands. And it's good to challenge yourself and to push your abilities. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not going to try and pretend that I'm some kind of elite musician or some expert teacher. You know, I've not really come from any kind of musical background. I've not studied music at school. My family certainly doesn't play any kind of music. It was just one of the things for me, it was just, I wanted to do it. I wanted to learn something like this. My story is I bought my first banjo back in 2006 on my first apprentice wage. Didn't have a lot of money. Went to Booth's music shop in Bolton, got my first banjo, took it home with a DVD, and I sat there for the best part of 2 years learning how to fingerpick Scruggs style. And after 2 years, I found it too technical, too challenging, too robotic. It wasn't for me. I wasn't feeling the flow, the rhythm, and I wasn't enjoying it. So that was me done with the banjo. I accepted defeat, hung up my instrument, never to play again. A year after that, I was on YouTube, just looking, browsing, and then lo and behold, a video pops up, some fella playing the banjo clawhammer style, a style that I'd never heard before, didn't even know it existed. But thanks to the internet, I heard this style. I heard the way it was played, using the back of the fingernail. I just heard that pounding clawhammer sound, and after hearing that for the first time, I thought, yeah, that sounds cool. That I could do that. So I watched a few videos, bought a book, studied it, and basically I'm just doing what you're doing right now, just looking at videos, thinking, can I do it? Is it something that I can do? And like I said, I just spent time and effort and gradually just taught myself how to play. And it's no skill, you know, there's no prerequisites. As long as you got, you know, obviously hands and a banjo, and you know, you can grow fingernail. I mean, you don't need a massive fingernail. You don't need to be like Cruella de Vil, but as long as you can grow like a bit of a nub on your middle finger for hitting those strings, then, you know, that's all you need really. And then just some direction. You know, you need to obviously learn the skill, but learn certain things in the right way, and have a fairly decent support network behind you, like a community. So, you know, as part of Banjo Adventures, we've got an awesome community of beginners from all over the world, all walking the same path together. So we support each other. You know, you can share your audio clips, share your progress, and we can all celebrate it together, rather than, as I learnt, just me in my bedroom by myself, just learning how to play. And then you take what you've spent weeks learning and you go and show it to, at the time for me, it was my mum. I said, Mum, listen to this, I've just learnt this. Play a song, probably Cripple Creek's usually the first song that I played. And yeah, I think she was impressed anyway. But yeah, you know, as well as that, what I'd probably say is make sure that you're learning how to play for you and you alone. You have to be a little bit selfish, and I mentioned this in a previous video, is look at it like this. If, you know, you see the people climbing Mount Everest, you see them famous photographs just before the summit, you've got like a queue of people all waiting for their turn to get onto the top, just to take a picture and stick a flag in it and then make their way back down. If you were to say to all them people in that queue, and everybody at ground, you know, at base camp, said to them like, right, imagine if God came from the sky and said, right, all you lot, you're allowed to walk to the top of Mount Everest, but after you've done it, from this day forward, you're not allowed to tell anyone that you've done it, you're not allowed to share any photographs, and you have to keep it a secret to yourself, not allowed to tell anyone. How many of them people on Mount Everest and in base camp would think, well, there's no point then. If I can't tell anyone, there's no point. What's the point in doing it? Maybe like a couple of small people, a small handful of people might say, I'm still going because I want to do it. It's something that I want to do for myself. But I think for the majority of them, they'd probably just turn back and go home because they're thinking, well, what's the point if I can't tell anyone? And I think it's the same with this. You've got to do it for yourself. You've got to want to learn the banjo for yourself and for nobody else, because at the end of the day, when it comes to learning, it's going to be you and your banjo for many, many, many hours, usually by yourself because you don't want to disturb your family. And you've got to want to do it for you and for nobody else, because no one's here to help you, no one's here to guide you through it, and nobody's there to hold your hand. And if you're not learning as part of a community like Banjo Adventures, you're going to end up with nobody there to spur you on and say, you're doing great, you know, keep on going, keep on going. So if you're choosing to learn by yourself, just be mindful that you need to be doing it for you, and that's the only way that you're going to keep that motivation going to spur you on. And that's all it is, you know, it's not a skill, there's nothing special, it's just learning the right things at the right time, putting the time and the effort in, and it is work, putting the work in, and you'll get there, you know, that's all it is. So don't worry about being rubbish, about sounding bad, about playing wrong, making mistakes. Don't worry about fluffing your strings and, you know what I mean, just don't worry about any of that stuff, because every bum note, every missed strum, every incorrect whatever it is, it's all progress in disguise. And if you're not making mistakes, and you're not in that growth zone, you're not learning. You know the old saying, no pain, no gain. When you're in those early days of learning, you're growing, literal growing pains. You are learning a brand new thing that you've never done before, and that is to be celebrated. And if you stick with it, like I said, a couple of months, you'll be playing your first tunes, and you'll look back and you'll be wondering what you was ever worried about in the first place. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe.